Krishna, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I hope everyone is well. Thank you so much for joining today's His Holiness Chandrama Swami's daily class. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, please do let me know. Today, His Holiness will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Verse 34. So I'll just share my screen so you can see the verse. Guru Maharaj, can you see the screen?
You can increase the font size.
Yep, sure. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Varsapugam Sahasrante Taradam Mudake Swayam Kala Karma Svabhavasto Jiva Jivam Ajivayat. Translation. Thus, all the universes remain thousands of eons within the water of the causal ocean, and the Lord of living beings entered into each of them, causing them to be fully animated. Purport. The Lord is described here as the Jiva because he is the leader of all other Jivas, living entities. In the Vedas, he is described as the Nitya, the leader of all other Nityas. The Lord's relationship with the living entity is like that of the Father with the sons. The sons and the Father are qualitatively equal, but the Father is never the Son, nor is the Son ever the Father who begets. So, as described above, the Lord as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, or Hiranyagarbha, Supersoul, enters into each and every universe and causes it to be animated by begetting the living entities within the womb of the material nature, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3. After each annihilation of the material creation, all living entities are merged within the body of the Lord, and after creation, they are again impregnated within the material energy. In material existence, therefore, the material energy is seemingly the mother of the living entities, and the Lord is the Father. However, when the animation takes place, living entities revive their own natural activities under the spell of time and energy, and thus the varieties of living entities are manifested. The Lord, therefore, is ultimately the cause of all animations in the material world. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyanadya Nalasalakaya. Taksur Malita Vyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavari Pastyatyare Satarni Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Pacha Titanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhuta Bhutva Paliyate means that this material energy is created and annihilated again and again. So this goes on according to the universal clock. When Brahma is born, he has 100 years of his life, which connects with 311 trillion 40 billion of our Earth years. And Brahma lives 400 years. So at the end of his day and night, which is 8 billion, 400 million years, there is a partial annihilation of the lower and middle planetary systems and some parts of the higher planetary system, but not all the way up beyond Swargaloka, but not beyond Swargaloka. The higher planets such as Maharloka, Janaloka, Satyaloka, uh, yeah, there's one or two other planetary systems that are of the higher material planets, they don't get annihilated. They remain. And then after some interim, the manifestation of the creation starts to unfold again. But at the end of Brahma's life, 311 trillion, 440 billion years of Earth years, there's a complete devastation. And this is what here is being referring to when the living entities who are in the planetary systems at the time of annihilation, they merge back into the body of Mahavishnu. And they stay there until in a what is called yoga nidra, a somewhat sleep state where there's no activity. And then when the next manifestation of the creation is due, then Mahavishnu institutes that or instigates it, brings it about, and the living entities manifest again. This happens regularly. Here it's mentioned that the Lord, he lays down on the causal ocean. And when he glances at the Mahatattva, which is the aggregate of all material energies in its unmanifested state, it becomes agitated by the glance of the Lord. In that glance, there is the living entities, there is the time factor, which is the motivating force of the material world. Everything works under control of time in the material world. And also Lord Shiva, not any ordinary Shiva, but the Sadashiva, the Shiva in the spiritual world manifests. And all of these come together to agitate the Pradhan or the Mahatattva, and then it goes into the Pradhan. The Pradhan is actually the encasement of the Maya energy, where everything becomes separate. And then here, Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Hiranyagarbha enters into each and being animated, the living entities with bitumen are animated within the womb of material nature. And then the next creation starts to unfold. So this is the universal. The scientists can't figure it out, nor they will even accept this type of an understanding, because they don't understand the nature of the absolute truth, that it's beyond our ability to conceive. Therefore, whatever they can experiment using their telescopes, microscopes, and various types of developed instruments, they relegate their definitions and conclusions based on their research, which is all theoretical at best and usually completely wrong. So, but here we have the complete understanding how the living entities appear and reappear after a time period. Someone may ask, well, what happens to one who is engaged in devotional service and then the annihilation comes? Do they have to merge back into the body of Mahavishnu and stay there in a dormant state? Because it says nothing can erupt or interrupt one's devotional service. Nothing material can interrupt one's devotional service. So with a little research, we have come up with the answer, and that is that those who are engaged in devotional service, they get special mercy. At the time of annihilation, they go back to the spiritual world. They don't have to merge back into the body of Mahavishnu and wait for the next interment. Of course, they're in a sleep state, so there's no question of the regulation of time. But in that sleep state, still, they are not engaged in devotional service, nor are they engaged in any activity. It's a special, we can't describe that, nor can anybody even try to explain what it is, what the living entities, but they go back into the body of Mahavishnu, and and then they come out again when it's time for the next creation to manifest. So this is all explained in a very succinct, very easy to understand way here. So people, sometimes we compare this to sex life in the material world, where the Lord's glance is his energy upon the pradhan, or the, what did we say, the pradhan, or the mahatattva. Mahatattva is like a womb, and just like in a woman's womb, the potential of the child is there, but it can't manifest until it gets uh, fertilized by the male. And in that fertilization, there is the presence of the soul, which is injected into the womb of the mother. And then that injection fertilizes, and along with the soul presence, the child takes shelter of the womb of the mother and then begins to grow. And after 9 months, he appears in physical form. He's in form, but in the womb. Now, in the same way, the Lord glances, but his glance is carried, not his glance is not automatic. It's carried by Ramadevi, his female energy. So you see the contact between male and female, even on the spiritual platform. So Ramadevi takes that energy and brings it into the Mahatattva, and then everything starts to develop. Lord Brahma comes along. He is the expansion of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then he makes the bodies of the living entities, and then according to their karma, based on their last sojourn in the material world, they get a body that's conducive to where they left off in the previous millennium, and then they begin again, manifested in different places throughout the creation. It's all very scientific how everything works. This, if you read Bhagavatam, you can also understand it, and also you go even deeper. If you read Brahma Samhita, that even gives you even a deeper understanding of this creation factor. Lagu Bhagavatamrita by Rupa Goswami also help us to understand more of the details of the manifestation and creation of the spirit and material universes, which are so vast, one can't even begin to understand how vast the material energy is. Without what to speak of the spiritual energy and the spiritual world, which is 3 times greater than the material world. So all of this is very scientifically done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is working. Parasya Shakti Vidahaya Suyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriya Cha. All of his energies are working completely according to his desire, and everything manifests according to his will. And therefore, because the Lord is perfect, says here he is the leader of the jiva, and he's also called jiva. Yeah. Another name for the Lord is jiva, because not in the sense that he is a jiva, but because he is the leader of the jivas. He's also described as nitya, nityanam chaitanas chaitananam, that there are so many eternal living entities, but he is the supreme eternal, which manifests all of the other eternals. So he is nitya, and we are nityanam. He is one, we are many. So he is also called Nitya. That's another one of his names, Nitya Dita. That's the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's so many manifestations of the details of creation. We're getting just a general understanding with further research into the Vedas, especially Brahma Samhita, works by Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami. You can find even finer and finer of the details of how the creation unfolds, how it winds itself up, how it's maintained, everything. Everything is highly controlled by the Supreme Lord through his energies. He doesn't do it directly, but he can do it directly when it's required, but he does it through his energies, and his energies always work according to his will. And all he has to do is desire, and the energies are activated. So God is controlling everything through his energies, and he has so many different types of energies for different functions. Depending on what he wants to do, he initiates that particular energy to do it. It says he has 16 principal energies, and in those 16 principal energies, there are subcategories of energies also. And so everything is quite scientific, organized, and nothing happens by chance. People in this material world, you see, when something goes wrong, they always say, well, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of this. But really, when things go wrong, this means because we live outside of the energies of the Lord. We use our independence to go against the energy of the Lord, and then we get a reaction, which is the cause of suffering. Just like I was just reading just before the class, there's this big epidemic in California now, where there's bird flu, and they call a state of emergency in the entire state of California now because of this bird flu, which comes from drinking, raw milk. So they blame raw milk as the cause, but actually it's not the cause. The cause is their sinful activities, because cows that are going to be killed secrete a poisonous enzyme into their milk because of their fearful lifestyle. This is mentioned in the Rig Veda. When cows are misused or unprotected, abused, and used for a commodity, cows live in a fearful state of existence. Cows are very perceptive. And being fearful, the milk that they get from these cows are actually poisonous. That's what it says in the Rig Veda. And then they say, well, the cause is the raw milk. No, the cause is your exploitation of cows. That's the cause. But they can't see that, because when you protect the cows give you a very healthy, nutritious milk, which gives higher energy and finer brain cells, which helps to understand spiritual topics. And when you misuse, abuse, or threaten the lives of the cows or make them into some economic commodity, then those cows will react in a fearful way, and that fear causes them to secrete this enzyme into the milk that is given, and that causes this is all in the Rig Veda, so it's not something we're making up. This is coming from Shastra. Shastra is the word of God. But they can't see that. They think, oh, the cows are not right, and therefore the milk is not right. Yeah, the cows are not right because you're mistreating them. So one of the greatest sins, and this is not a euphemism or a hyperbole or an exaggeration, one of the greatest sins one can commit is to abuse cows. It's the greatest, and in fact, it says in the Shastras that when you kill a cow, it's equal to killing two men. And this is from the Manu Samhita. So cows are God's gift to human society, and without cow care and cow protection and proper treatment of cows, you cannot have Brahminical culture. And if you don't have Brahminical culture, you have a culture based on sense gratification, or you might have a demoniac culture. And therefore people suffer. They don't blame their lifestyle. They blame this, they blame that, they blame this. This went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong. It's because you're not living according to the law of God. And if you break the laws of God, nature is God's instrument. She will punish you directly. And if you follow the laws of God, nature becomes your support in life. She gives you benefit when you follow the laws of God. She gives you misery when you break the laws of God. That's her job, and she's the instrument. It's like the father and the mother. The father is the head of the family, and if you abuse, you disobey the father, and you abuse the mother, you're going to suffer. There's no question about it. People can't connect these things. They blame everything based on this situation or that situation. But behind the scenes, all of their suffering is due to sinful activities or working outside of the laws of God, which are the principles by which you can live happily, healthily, and also achieve the goal of life, that is self-realization. Okay, we can stop here. We'll have about 35 minutes for discussion.
Hare Krishna, thank you. That was a really nice discussion on this verse. Dear devotees, if you are able to, it'd be lovely to see you. So do please put your cameras on. And if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat or just raise your hand. Um,
Yeah, you can stop sharing, bring it back to the gallery.
yes, let me do that. Yep, there we go. There was a comment from Rishabha Prabhu on the chat. He said it sounds ecstatic to touch the body of Mahavishnu.
What was the question?
His comment was, it sounds ecstatic to touch the body of Mahavishnu.
It sounds ecstatic to touch the body of Mahavishnu. Well, when you're in the sleep state, you're not aware of anything. So your ecstasy will be just hypothetical.
I wanted to just highlight something you said quite beautifully about the cows. So in Leicester, we have an ahimsa farm, and I think you may have visited Guru Maharaj, the ahimsa farm in Leicester, run by Sita Ram Prabhu.
I haven't gone there yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah. We take like new students there, and it's what you mentioned was so profound because we've got a trip actually next week. So we take students who have been sort of engaging with the philosophy. They come, and so many when they just see the cows, they feel at peace, and then they realize the life they're leading right now. Some of them may be eating meat. Some of them immediately, as soon as just being with the cows and even getting to milk the cows and feeding the cows, they realize that the life they're living is quite hellish. And so we have so many who then speak to us about how to sort of um, stop eating meat in the household. And I think it's so powerful that people are with the cows. They'll actually realize like they are like your mother. Yeah, it was just something I wanted to share because I've seen that personally, people having that transformation of the heart just by being with the cows. I think it's so powerful. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, people who have psychological problems, they're actually practically cured if they stay with the cows.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think is obviously in India um, there's so many cow shelters. In the UK, I think they're trying to develop more and more because it's so needed here. Um,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to stop killing the cow. That's the whole
Mm,
thing. Prabhupada
definitely.
said if you want to eat meat, you wait till the cow dies, and then you can take, but don't interrupt its life by killing it. He said, you can take if you can give up meat eating, all right, wait till the cow dies. And then cows live between 18 and 22 years generally. Average cow lives about 20 years. So cows will be dying regularly, just they'll die their normal death, their lifespan like that. But because they're greedy and they have no understanding of the value of such animals, all he can think about is the economic gain, and therefore they suffer.
Mm,
And they cause many, many problems, not only uh, social problems, not even no individual problems, but social problems and also international problems. It's one of the greatest sins in the human culture is to kill cows. It is the greatest sin, practically.
dear devotees, does anybody have any questions or any comments that you'd like to share? We've got Amrita Namataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj, is it in the Shastras cow is dead, we can eat the flesh?
Not you can't, not devotees, that's for the non-devotees.
Okay.
The non-devotees who can't give up meat eating, who are addicted to that, rather than this is just as a compromise program, that's all. Rather than kill the cow, they can still fulfill their desire for meat eating if they wait till the cow dies. Prabhupada said that in one lecture when he was in France. So basically, what he's saying, don't kill the cows. Wait till they die. If you really can't give up meat eating. But it's not for devotees. Devotees don't do that.
Yeah, not for devotees, but still, I was just thinking that eating the flesh of cow. Yeah,
No, not for devotees. That's just for the non. That's not only for the non-devotees, but for those who are addicted to such activities. There are people who are addicted to sex life. That's why if you're addicted to sex life, all right, get married and follow the principles and have it according to schedule. But then you're addicted to alcohol, there's also a program for taking it at certain times. You know, all of these sinful activities are regulated. The regulation helps you to give it up. Mhm. Yeah, just like one devotee, when he first came to Prabhupada, Prabhupada was explaining that in marriage life, you just have sex life once a month. And the devotee said, once a month, better to give it up altogether. Prabhupada said, yes, now you've understood. So you can't tell people to give it up altogether. They can't. So you set the scriptures set a regulative activity, both for meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex. So one can regulate it and then ultimately give it up. Just like people
okay.
who smoke cigarettes. You know, when there's people who want to help them, they give a formula. All right, you're smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. All right, next week you smoke only 1 pack. And then after so many weeks, you reduce that many cigarettes and you reduce some more and you reduce some more until you get down to the point where you can't reduce anymore and you're able to give it up. But when you try to pull away someone's attachment, that is very strong, especially these things, illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and all that, gambling. They can't do it. But if you do it, say, all right, take it gradually. That's why we give a chance for people before they get initiated to follow the process. So you follow these 4 regulative principles. So you may not be following them, but you work to the point where you can come to the point of nil, no more, and then you're ready for initiation. And of course, chanting Hare Krishna too. So there's a thing in the scriptures called mamsa. Mamsa is regulated meat eating. This is, what do they call it? In Jewish thing, they call kosher, something that's kosher. So how's it work? Mamsa is you take a goat on a full moon night and you chant this mantra, which is called mamsa, mamsa. And the mantra is there, and the mantra says, "My dear Mr. Goat, I am killing you and you're giving up your life so I can eat you. But in a future life, you will kill me and eat me." That's the mantra. So when you understand the mantra, you start to think, what am I doing? So that's regulated. But when people don't even follow any types of regulatory principles, they just do what they want whenever they want, and then they live like animals. Therefore, they suffer. If they don't suffer in this life, they will suffer tremendously in the next life. They may not even get a human form of life. They may gravitate down to some hellish existence. So yeah, these things, human life means control. But people cannot all of a sudden jump to the standard. So there is a system of regulation which allows people to reduce until you come to the point of not nil.
Thank Prabhupada mentions I thought, I mean, in certain purports, he mentions that the ignorant people, they who want to have flesh of the animals, they sacrifice. I mean, they sacrifice the animals and then they eat it.
But
So
Vedic sacrifices are not recommended in this age. That's was done in previous ages. No one can do the sacrifice. No one can chant the mantras properly. The mantra is meant to rejuvenate the old animal and give it a new body. But unless they have Brahmins who can chant these mantras perfectly and are also following Brahminical culture perfectly, these sacrifices are not to be performed in this age. That's why
right.
Buddha came to stop animal sacrifices.
Yes, Kumar. So in some communities, there's still this kind of sacrifice going on. So that is bogus, right? Not, anyways, it's not recommended.
Yeah, they're committing sinful activity.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the clarification. Hare Krishna.
Just real quickly, Amrita, since you're online, I want to send you something that's a big file. So I don't know how to do it. Can you give me some suggestions?
You can send it through WeTransfer, Guru Maharaj. Through WeTransfer, you can WeTransfer dot. If you write it in Google, the link will come, and you just have to attach the file. You can attach it up to 2 GBs.
Well, this is how many? This is this is big. This is something like 11.2 gigabytes.
11.2 GBs.
Yeah, it's you're working on my book, so you want pictures. So I have a file with all pictures that you could use for the upcoming books. So I was thinking of sending it to you so you wouldn't have to go searching for pictures.
Okay, I'll let you know, Guru Maharaj. I'll find out another way to send this big data, and I'll let you know.
Okay, if you can find some quick way, we
Sure.
can, yeah. Okay, it's big, but I want to give you the whole file rather than just some of it.
Yes, but it will anyways take time to upload, Guru Maharaj. 11 GBs.
Okay, you just let me know by email or some way how to do it.
Okay, sure.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
No problem. Thank you, Amrita now Mataji, for your question. Sridevi Mataji, you can unmute.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, as you were describing about how people do not connect what is going on and blame, environmental change, global warming, this thing, that thing, but they don't look at themselves and see where am I going wrong? What am I not doing right? Similarly, because of this lack of introspection, and also conscience or any kind of moral or religious values, everyone, as you said, is doing exactly what they want. And even if we mention that there is a possibility that we are suffering, they don't want to hear that, because it means they think, oh, it'll interfere with my enjoyment, it'll interfere with my sense gratification. In such a scene where they do not even want to entertain the thought of changing anything, how can we effect a change?
You can't let them, all you can do, all you can do is suffer. We're trying to affect a change through our preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness. Those who take to it, they're fortunate. So our movement is a Brahminical movement to attract the whole world to Krishna conscious. So let them come in a positive way, take up Krishna conscious, and then they can gradually give up their bad habits. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, but what else can you do? That's why we're here. It's Lord Chaitanya's movement to purify the world.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridevi Mataji. Olga Mataji, would you like to share your question or comments?
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, dear devotees, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I have met vegan people on the street another day. Here in Italy, they stand on the streets like with this mask, like white masks, and they show on the screens how animals are killed or tortured in the industrial sites. And we've been talking to them, and they explained to me also how milk, industrial milk is, let's say, how we get it. So my question is, why, since temples, for example, and the majority of people living in cities, devotees, we cannot get another type of milk. So we are still taking it from stores. But knowing the way it is produced, why do we keep on consuming?
Because we're so attached to the wrong thing. And there's a book put out by my god sister called Vishwadika called Bhakti Milk. It's about 70 some pages. She explains this whole thing. There is a Himsa milk, but Himsa milk is not necessarily a Himsa. Bhakti milk, it means taking milk only from our cows in our farms. In other words, cows that are taken care of by devotees, not by non-devotees. So, because, yeah, you read that book, it's called Bhakti Milk. I think Sri Devi can help you get copies of that book, right? And she's pretty, she knows Vishwadika really good. So, yeah, it's a great
Yes, I
book.
can, Guru. Yes, I can.
But milk is not bad. It's as I explained to you how it works. If the cows are happy, protected, they give you nice, healthy, nutritious milk, which nourishes brain cells and gives strength and longevity to the body. Milk is the miracle food, but it becomes something else when they abuse the cow. If you abuse your mother, if you slap your mother and you just exploit your mother, you think your mother's going to give you everything you need to live happily? You're crazy. So they're crazy. They're killing their mother, abusing their mother, and they expect that their mother will give them something good for them. Same with the earth. The earth is our mother also. They rape the earth, and then I was just talking to one senior devotee yesterday. He was saying there's so many calamities on the earth now. Fires, floods, so many things, right? In Europe, he said Europe is going through a lot of flooding, right? Maybe those of you who live in Europe. The whole world's going through a lot of calamities. Why? Because they're sinful. That's all. Earth is mother too. Cow is mother. 7 mothers. The earth and the cow are 2 of the prominent mothers. Mother means take care of your mother and she'll nourish you nicely. If you exploit your mother, what do you expect? Expect get slapped. That's all.
So in general, consuming milk from the store, we are breaking
Don't do it. Don't do it. Better not to drink milk. But our society, I guess, is a little slow in producing enough milk for the devotees in different places. There are certain temples, like when I go to Ujjain, I get nice milk because they have a nice, goshal there. When I go to Govardhan Echo Village, they get nice milk too because they get milk from their farms also. When you go to Gita Nagari, you'll get nice milk because they got milk there. Certain places in the United States buy milk from Gita Nagari. But otherwise, just don't drink it. Remain vegan. And then when you get the opportunity for bhakti milk coming from our cows, then you can take advantage. Because if you read her book, it really gives you all of the answers you need. Because the cows that go for commercial dairies, when they can no longer produce, they sell the cows to the slaughterhouses. Cows are very perceptive. They know when they're being treated properly, they know when they're being exploited. But they're helpless. They're animals. I don't know if you saw that, and this was a few years ago. I was putting it up on the screen. 6 cows broke out of the slaughterhouse, and they were running all over the streets. And one cow was protecting all of the other 5 cows when they tried to wind her. He was like, this cow was the leader of the other cows. And when they would try to round up the other cows, he would come and attack them. So finally, after some time, they rounded up all the cows. One lady, she got really sympathetic and she said, I want those cows, those 6 cows. They said, you have 4 days to come up with the money. Otherwise, they're going to be killed. So she raised the money, took them, brought them on their farm. The cows were very fearful at first, but she was very loving, very caring, very careful. After some time, the cows started to really trust. There was no trust at the beginning because the cows were living in fear. But after some time, the cows started to feel happy, and you can see that video is there. I can post it again. So yeah, cows are very sentient. They're not just animals. They're the highest animal within the animal culture. They're very perceptive. And gear cows, they actually channel higher energy through the hump on their back. And their milk is called A2 milk. That milk is the most nutritious milk on the planet. So take care of your mother, she'll take care of you. You abuse your mother, what do you expect? It's not a euphemism or some kind of analogy. It's actually a fact. Cow is mother. She provides so many things for your well-being, not only milk, but so many other things also.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So my answer to you is
No.
just don't drink. She'd encourage the devotees to set up, nice goshalas where we can develop cows and then eventually develop milk. You should give nice milk to the deities, and devotees should also have like that. So we have a few places around the world that are doing it, but not enough. That's the problem. The GBC made a resolution that in the year 2024, which was 2022, I'm sorry, on Janmashtami 2022, every temple in ISKCON must have a program for bringing in milk from our cows for the deities in their temples. That was a GBC resolution, but people didn't follow. Some places followed, others didn't. So I travel around and I know where I can get good milk and where I have to abstain.
In Villa Vrindavana now there are 6 cows in total, and I think at least three or four now they give milk, and one is even like a virgin cow, and she's giving milk. So when you come to us next time, there you can find good milk. But of course, it's not enough for devotees, and I think even for deities, when they do abhishek or something, they're using bio, but still milk from the store.
Man, we shouldn't even touch that stuff because we're supporting the slaughter industry by buying into that.
Yeah.
And devotees are also suffering because of that. Okay, we'll have to go for the last question. I have to leave in about 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes before we have to end.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Olga Mataji. Sridevi Mataji?
Just a humble sharing of my experience, Guru Maharaj. I lived on a farm and I was so blessed to just take only protected cow's milk, yogurt, buttermilk, cheese, ghee, etc. etc. Then I moved to New Orleans and I didn't have access for some time. And then for one time, I made the mistake of buying a can of yogurt. And I somehow, I wasn't feeling too good, but still I offered it. And when I began eating it, mother cow came in front of my eyes. I could see her with tears in her eyes crying. I couldn't touch that yogurt, and I have never bought any store-bought milk products from that point on. Never.
Good. Yeah. Well, just everyone should take your experience as a way to, you know, change their life also. Yeah. Yeah. Radhanath Swami talks about how when he first came to India, he, he was sitting, he didn't have anything to eat. He met one man. He writes about this. And then he he was this man was really friendly, and he said, "I want to. You look like you don't have anything to eat. I'll take you to a place you can get something to eat." So Maharaj was sitting there waiting for the food to come. He was looking out the window, and he saw a beautiful calf, so beautiful, and he was just charmed by the beautiful calf. And then when the man served the food, he served some meat. And then Maharaj looked at the meat and he looked at the calf and he started crying and he couldn't eat. And that he said, after that, no way. So that was his experience. He writes about that also. Yeah. So, yeah. You live with cows, you start to understand how wonderful they are.
Thank
Yeah.
you. There's one more question, Guru Maharaj, if that's okay, in the chat. Rasa Vilasini Radha Mataji is asking, is other milk, like, for example, oat, almond milk, is that also not good to drink?
What kind of milk?
Like oat milk, almond milk.
It's not milk. They just use that word. It's not
Okay.
milk. It's oats in a liquid form or almonds in a liquid form. Because it looks like milk, and maybe also they can make it taste a little bit like milk. It's still not milk. It's what it is. Almonds and oats.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think there are any other questions in the chat.
Okay. So we can stop here. I do have to. There's a big program at the temple tonight, and I have to get there. So, oh, Sri Devi, you're in Mayapur, right?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Push Abhishek starts tonight, 7 o'clock.
Yes, yes.
Kirtan.
I'm coming for the Pushpa Abhishek thanks to my spiritual daughter. She managed to rope me in saying, you come and stay here. She lives very close to the temple. She said, you can come and spend the night in my house, but please come. So that's how I'm making it.
All right. Invite all the devotees to come. It's really a really wonderful way to worship the Lord.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. I'll get my old bones out there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. We'll start a series of verses. And tomorrow will be the first verse in the series on CC.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for your time today. Yes, we'll same link is as also for the CC class tomorrow. So please do join back on the same link. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Srimad
you.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Prabhupada
jai.
ki jai.
Thank you, Achyuta. That was nice.
Thank you. Thank you for the service.
Yeah,
Hare
you
Krishna.
this was your debut.
My debut, yeah. There's probably loads of improvements. So yeah. Well,
No, you're good. You're running ahead of all of us.
not at all. I'm just learning. But yeah. We'll hopefully see you at the IMSA farm here when you're in the UK. We'll invite you to come.
By you mentioning it today, I just put it into my schedule now.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I have never gone. It's amazing, but I have to go.
Yeah, you definitely will. We'll definitely do a program there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
everyone.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.